Hello, everyone. Welcome to another award-winning edition of the Locker Room Chat. My name is John Williams, and joined by my co-host, my partner in crime, my right-hand man or my left-hand man, Walter Stair. And Walter, thank you for being here.
Well, glad to be here. I see Tennessee having another tough one tonight. I hope it's not a buzzer beater and we get beat by one again. I can't stand anymore.
And our guests tonight are the Oakdale Eagles basketball team, fresh off a District 4A championship, and head coach Travis Nelson here with us. And Travis, thank you for being here and welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having us.
And Travis, have you ever coached in a game where you lost on on back-to-back buzzer beaters?
I don't think back-to-back. I'm sure we've lost on a buzzer beater a time or two, or maybe won a game or two that we've had a buzzer beater, but never back-to-back.
All right, hopefully don't come down to that tonight.
Yeah, Tennessee's had two back-to-back, and yeah, hopefully you break the streak tonight.
All right. And this is for the record, this is Oakdale red and not Alabama red. But Walter, I know you're salivating over there a little bit about this Tennessee-Alabama matchup tonight. The Vols ranked number 10, exactly. Alabama ranked number 1.
We don't like that. It's role reversal. Alabama's now at the top of the heap, and we're number 10. Alabama's not normally. They're usually decent in basketball, but not that good.
Right. I think this is the first time Alabama's been ranked number 1 in 20 years. 2003 season.
I saw something on Southern Hoops, and they did quite well in the 1970s with Leon Douglas back in those days, and I think they were in the top 10 during that time period. Won 3 straight Southeastern Conference championships.
Yeah, I remember Leon Douglas and T.R. Dunn and Anthony Murray.
Yeah, your older brothers sort of nicknamed T.R. Dunn at one time.
Yeah. Charles Cleveland, remember all those guys. But this is only the third top 10 matchup at Thompson Bowling Arena. I thought was interesting in like the 36-year history. Tennessee's won both of those. One of them was earlier this year against Texas, and then they beat Kentucky in 2019.
Well, we always like that one.
Yeah. So also it's I think Tennessee's got five wins over teams ranked number 1 in their history, and they're 1-1 in Knoxville. They beat Kansas. Remember that game in 2010, and Skylar McBee.
Oh yes.
And in 2015, Tennessee defeated Kentucky.
He was out of Rutledge High School. I actually did a number of his games when I was up in Claiborne County, so I remember him quite fondly.
Oh, did you called some of his games?
Oh yes.
I bet that was fun.
It certainly was.
Did you say McBee for 3?
That's it.
Several times, I'm sure.
Yeah, several times. And I was going to say something else. Oh yeah, I remember listening to the Tennessee South Carolina game. It was 1969. You probably recall that.
Yes.
It was in Columbia, and the Gamecocks are ranked number 1. The head coach, Frank McGuire.
Yes.
I still remember listening on the radio, and we won that game. And Tennessee with probably Billy Hahn and
Billy Justice, and I don't know if England. Any of the Englands were there yet? They probably were.
Yeah, I think England probably played.
Yeah.
Ray Mears was coaching, so I remember that knocking off the Gamecocks number 1. Remember that game, Travis?
No, that's a little before my time.
You're a Tennessee fan, I know, aren't you?
I'm actually not a Tennessee fan. Most of the people around that know
really?
me. Yeah, I'm a Florida fan.
Oh, really?
It's kind of a weird how it started. My dad hated Steve Spurrier when I was growing up, and so I did it just kind of to, to get at him. And then once I got a little older, 7, 8 years old, how they threw it around all the time. I really liked watching them. It's like one of those things. Like I've been a Florida fan through all the Ron Zook years and Will Muschamp. So I've been there through thick and thin.
Yeah.
we're not too good at any of the sports right now. Maybe baseball. I'm not a big baseball fan, but maybe we can do something positive in baseball. So,
Florida's had some good basketball teams. I think 2007, 2008, somewhere around in there. They went back to back.
Yeah, and that was it's kind of crazy. My birthday was around the time that Tennessee always played Florida, and so both of those years my mom bought tickets so we could go watch Tennessee and Florida. They were really good, and both times they lost in Knoxville. And so I've never been to a Tennessee-Florida game that Florida won. So every time I go, Tennessee wins. So I've kind of told my wife, I said, don't buy me any more Tennessee-Florida tickets. I'm going to stay at the house. We'll watch it from home. And, but just kind of a running joke between me and my buddies. Yeah, I'm surprised more of my friends don't buy me tickets to go every year because I'm apparently pretty bad luck when it comes to that. So,
was you still in high school then when you went to those games?
I was, yeah. I graduated in 2007, so it was around my junior and senior year when they had the really good teams.
I bet you was loving it then.
Oh yeah. At one time, you had the football national champion and the basketball national championship in the same year. It was one of those days. But I really liked Billy Donovan and the stuff that he did, basketball wise, and Urban Meyer. Loved watching Tim Tebow play and some of the teams that they had. They were really fun to watch. I think that was the thing that kind of drew my interest towards things that Florida did at that time. Was obviously basketball wise we liked scoring points and offense, and that was, I guess, my love for that kind of started in those early years of watching Steve Spurrier and some of those guys.
I bet you was wearing Florida stuff back to school back
I probably did. I didn't have a whole lot of it because I was one of those, I didn't want to be, rub it in. I liked them, started liking them.
Right,
One of those, you just like watching them and certain things, but I tried not to be that guy and, rub it in everybody's face and all that stuff. But
who was some of their players? I remember Mike Miller and Yannick Noah.
Yeah, Joe Kim Noah.
Or Joe Kim. And Yannick was his daddy. Joe Kim.
And then the shooter from Maryville.
Oh, yeah.
That went down there.
Lee Humphrey.
Humphreys, yeah. I had a couple of really good guards that wound up playing. Al Horford was part of those teams.
That's hard to believe. He's got a son. No, his dad's name was Tito, right? And Al's now plays for the Celtics, right?
Yeah. He's had a long career. He's been in the league for a long time, and still a big piece of what the Celtics do, and what he's been on a couple other different teams. But it's fun to see at his age, being able to do the things that he's doing. I say his age; he's not that much older than I am. But if I was in the league, it would still be fun to watch. I think.
And Walter, you got a score? What's the halftime score?
Tennessee 29 and Alabama 29. Alabama came back from about a 7-point deficit towards the end of the first half to tied at 29.
Now, Brad said if Tennessee's got the lead, you can't announce it there here in the second half.
Okay.
He did that against the Florida. They was playing Florida. We was watching it that night, and Walter said, "Well, Tennessee's up by 6 points," and before we know it, we were down.
The jinx.
Right.
The jinx. Yeah, you can't be the jinx.
But we're visiting with head coach of the Oakdale Eagles boys basketball team, Travis Nelson, and he's brought along two of his Eagles with them, Kyle Miller and Sidney Gregory. And remember, Sidney had him on the year before last night for football. So, guys, if you would, just go ahead and introduce yourself and tell everyone what class you're in and what position you play.
I'm Kyle Miller. I'm a junior, and I'm a point guard and post player.
I'm Sidney Gregory. I'm a junior, and I play point guard and shooting guard.
Guys, congratulations on your district championship. Champions of District 4A, and getting ready to start the district tournament coming up. So, what's your thoughts on the tournament? Who do you play Friday night?
We play Rockwood Friday night.
And what's your thoughts on the upcoming district tournament?
The Rockwood games, both of them we played were close, and it could have went both ways, but we pulled it out on top, so hopefully we can get an advantage of beating them.
Yeah, I'm sort of surprised that Rockwood finished fourth, didn't they?
Yeah.
They have a pretty good player. I've heard a lot about one of their players.
Ty Pryor.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
So that'll be a dangerous game for y'all, having defeated them twice already in tournament time. So, Sydney, let's talk about your thoughts on the tournament coming up and playing Rockwood opening up.
It'll be a grind. No games in the tournament easy. Basketball's a tournament sport, so we got to be ready. They'll be fired up to get us. They don't want to be beat 3 times by us, so we just got to be ready to go.
And Coach Nelson, the tournament's at Harriman High School.
It is, yep.
So if you would just go ahead and talk about your season. I know y'all won the district championship regular season of 6-2, and sort of an interesting season. I looked at your overall record, I think 10-14. So non-conference schedule's been pretty tough. Played North City and Clinton and some of the bigger schools.
It is. When you're a smaller school and kind of had the records that we have over the past few years, it's hard to get teams to schedule, kind of in that in-between. There's really not, in our area, there's not a lot of AA schools. It seems like you go from single A to AAA all the way up to 4A, and it's hard to find games in between. But I like scheduling tougher games, kind of get these guys ready for tournament play and getting ready for the district schedule. Years ago, I guess it was my third year, we played Maryville, Heritage, and Sevier County were like the first 3 games. We were 1-5, and somebody was like, well, I thought y'all were going to be pretty good. What's that? And it's like, well, we played, right. 3 of the best schools that, at that time, those 3 were powerhouses in AAA, and then we played our first district game and won by 30. And I think one of the dads kind of understood what I was doing at that point, was trying to get us ready for district play. And when you play those teams early and you get used to that style of play, and then you go play a single A school or a school that's maybe not as good as that, I feel like you get better at the little things, and it can really help you going along the way. As far as our season goes, we were 5-0 in the district going into the Greenback game at our place, and Kyle Miller over there, like the second play of the game, got hurt. Kyle's he was really big for us all year, just kind of that guy that plays hard all the time, and kind of everybody kind of rallied around. Okay, he's made a couple steals, we got to go play hard. And I think it kind of shell-shocked us a little bit. Kyle, both of those guys, we've moved them around. They've played some posts for us. They've played guards, and I don't want to take anything away from either one of them, but I think Sydney might be 5'10", and Kyle might be 5'9", and plays in the post for us. But they've done an incredible job. But losing Kyle, I think kind of, not taking anything away from Greenback, they played really good at our place. Kind of shell-shocked us, and then the next game we played at Harriman. We'd had a 26-point lead on them at our place, and then got down there, and that was the first game without Kyle, and kind of learning the rotation. We haven't played a lot of guys this year, kind of stick to, I had been around 8 guys in the rotation, and trying to figure that out, and the guys figuring out what to do without Kyle being there, led to a little bit of a letdown. We lost that game, so to go 5-0 and then lose 2 back-to-back district games, and then the Rockwood game last week was one of those that you got to win that one, or we could have finished. I think mathematically we could have finished second, but there could have been a 4-way tie with Rockwood, Harriman, us, and Greenback for first with the last couple of games to go. Just our district's been really, really competitive this year. Even Midway, I don't think they won a district game, but we beat them both by, I think one game was by 4 points and the other one was single digits both times. I thought, they had a really good team. Just couldn't really find a way to win, but they were very competitive. Last night they played Rockwood to a 5-point game to get into the district tournament. So just one of those things. It's going to be a fun tournament. I think any of the 4 teams can win it. We've got to show up ready to play both nights. Hopefully we can win the first one and try to get to that championship game. And if you don't, you got to play well in that consolation game to try not to go to, probably go to Oneida and try to avoid that. And, our region is really close. I think Oneida's kind of head and shoulders above everybody else, and then the rest of us are all pretty much the same on any given night. You could win or you could get beat if you don't show up to play. So it's going to be a fun district tournament, and then leading into the region, I think it's going to be a fun tournament as well.
Let's jump back over to Kyle Miller. Kyle, I apologize. I should have asked you how you hurt your foot. I talked to you there a little bit before the show, but tell everyone out there a little bit about your injury and you're a junior, so you'll be back next year, but I'm sorry to hear about your injury.
Well, it's all right. Hopefully next year I'll be back better than ever, but I went up for a layup in the Greenback game, and whenever I come down, I hit the wall behind our goal, and my ankle folded outwards, and it snapped the bone completely in half. And then I ended up having to go get surgery on it, and today I got stitches out. I had 11 of them, so hopefully summer ball right around the corner, I'll be there.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that with us. And, Walter?
I know Sydney has won a district award, haven't you? I'm glad to hear that. Congratulations on being the first team all-district.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And Coach, one thing I wanted to address, the fact you're 4-12 outside the district, that would have to make you very battle tested in all the games that you will be doing in the tournament, and should make it where you go very far, because that has to make you super tough.
You hope so. You know, some of those games were region games with, we split with Oliver Springs, we split with Coalfield, and I think both of those that's the 2 seed and the 3 seed over on the other district. So that's one of those teams that you're probably going to see in the region tournament. Then we lost 2 games to Jellicoe, which I think they're going to either win their district or finish second up there. And that's a team, if you made it to the sub-state, you could possibly see them there. So another really good basketball team. We played Grace Christian twice, and that's just one of those. They got better, it seemed like, as the year went on. At our place, it was a 5-point game, and then we went over to Grace, and they ran a little different defense than we had prepared for. It was on a Monday, and we hadn't had practice, and man, they put it on us. It was a 30-point game at some point. I think it might have been 35. Then Lenore City, I think they've won some games in 3A. I think they're about 500, which is one of those. If you can do that in the district that they play in, you got some really good players. Then we played Clinton one time up there at their place. They went to the state semifinals last year, I think. Did they make it to the semifinals last year? First round. And I know that they lost some kids, but that's a really good program to go up there and try to get. And then we played Kingston in the Christmas tournament, Kingston and Meigs County, which are 2 really good AA schools. And so hopefully all that, the battle tested and getting through those games. And not a lot of them were close. You want to keep some of those close and try to win some close games. But we've had most all of our district games have been close down to the final minutes and just finding a way to win. And hopefully we can continue to do that.
Have you been able to keep morale up in having so many of those games that you've lost to a whole lot better teams, or has that just been part of the learning process?
I think so. You talk to those guys after the game. You go in there and you're like, okay, we lost by 30, but are they 30 points better than us? And the overwhelming answer is no. With this team, it's a little difficult because they care more about how good the other team is, and then they get to halftime and it's like, wait a minute, we're good enough to compete with them. It's just trying to get that belief in them that I have. I wouldn't schedule these games. I don't schedule games that, we're going to lose those for sure. I feel like we could go in there and compete. Just trying to get these guys to understand. I want to go into every game thinking we can compete and we have a chance to win, and just trying to get that with, we've got a really big junior class. The first 2 years we weren't very successful. Last year we got into the district championship, had a chance to win. So I think that kind of built a little bit of morale, and hopefully they're learning and getting better and kind of mentally being prepared that, yeah, we can win every game. We just got to go out and play our style of basketball and take care of the ball and give ourselves a chance.
We're chatting with the head coach of the Oakdale Eagles, Travis Nelson, and phone lines are open if you have a question or comment for him or a couple of his players that are here with us. But right now we're going to go ahead and take our first break of the night, and we'll be right back. Stick around. You're watching the Locker Room Chat.
Hi, I'm from. Oh no.
They got OEV? Let us handle the insurance company, or whatever, if you've been injured in an accident. We don't miss the shot. Scoring for our clients is what we do best.
As soon as I walked in the door and saw just the ambiance of the place, I thought, wow. I said, this is really nice. Everyone is just great with all of the residents.
I call this the Alexander House of Angels.
This is an example of one of our rooms. This is considered a large studio. We do have 4 different size rooms. They all have their own private bathrooms. They all have a small kitchenette.
I always tell residents that they feed us wisdom. I feel like that's a big special part of working in assisted living.
And it's a big family here. Everyone is very nice.
Look out for each other.
They do. She's made a lot of friends. It's been that from day one.
Yeah, it has. I love our building, our people, but I tell you, I wouldn't be anywhere else.
Daniel Forrester has been recognized as one of East Tennessee's leading attorneys for nearly 2 decades. Civil disputes, criminal defense, divorces, and juvenile custody cases are all part of an impressive resume. Daniel's legal experience also includes representing clients in local, state, and federal courts. A husband and a father, Daniel is a Rule 31 certified mediator who has represented hundreds of families in Chancery Court. Call Daniel Forrester Law Office at 865-457-7900 for a free consultation.
Earl Duff Pre-Owned Center in Harriman is your one-stop shop for vehicle sales and service. The Duff family is open for business for everything automotive. We offer fully inspected, dependable pre-owned vehicles, and most come with a powertrain warranty at no extra cost. We also have a complete service department equipped for maintenance and repairs on all makes and models.
Don't settle for less with your next pre-owned vehicle purchase. Come to Earl Duff Pre-Owned Center in Harriman or online at duffpreowned.com.
Like family at RMG. Bring your junk, cars, aluminum cans. We'll buy it on the spot and we'll pay you a lot. We treat you like family at RMG. Yeah, we treat you like family at RMG. Rome Metals will treat you like family.
Rome Metals is located just off of Highway 27 between Harriman and Rockwood.
Welcome back into the locker room chat, and we're visiting with the head coach of the Oakdale Eagles boys basketball team, Travis Nelson. And Walter, give us an update on the Big Orange.
Well, Tennessee is leading at the moment, but Alabama is, I think it's, 36-34 thereabouts. It actually went off, and I forgot what the score was, but I think we're up by 2, 36-34.
That scares me a little bit because I watched Alabama and Auburn Saturday, and they were playing at Auburn, and Auburn led most of the way, it seemed like, and Bama was just right there, and then finally able to catch up and pull away there at the end.
I noticed Bruce Pearl got pretty upset in that game, just like he did in the one that he lost.
Oh, yeah, he had some calls there down the stretch he didn't much care for. But Coach Nelson, just tell us a little bit about yourself. You work at Oakdale High School? Or?
I do. I work in the elementary school. I'm the pre-K through 8 PE teacher. So I'm down with the little ones most of the time. But being a K-12 school, I'm around, go up to the high school and see up to the gym and see the guys up there. I'm from Wartburg, graduated there in 2007. This is my 11th season at Oakdale. My first year out of when I graduated college, this job came open, and knew a couple people and applied and interviewed and got the job, and been there ever since. And it's been a really blessing to me and my family. They've been really good to me and my wife and both of our little girls, and just truly love the place. And there's a lot of really good people that have really helped us along the way, and it's been fun. It really has. It don't seem like it's been 11 years, but it just kind of flies the older you get, I think. And
let's talk about your family. You mentioned your wife and a couple daughters.
Yeah, I got my oldest daughter, Lakin. She's 5. She'll be 6 in April. And then my youngest daughter, Collins, she's 2.
You got them dribbling now and everything.
They do. Lakin plays basketball. She has a lot of skill. It seems like she can run up and down the floor. She's not really aggressive, but that's just not her nature. So that's our biggest thing. Like, just go be aggressive. Go take the ball. It's kind of a weird. You don't think about it until you're a parent, but you teach kids to share all the time and not take stuff from people, and then when you come to basketball, it's like, hey, go, you go take the ball from them. And it's just kind of a weird dynamic to tell a 5-year-old little girl, hey, you go take that ball from her, and all that stuff. And the youngest one, Colin, she really likes going and watching, older sister play. And Lakin has been the last 2 years, about the last 7 games of the year. Last year, she started sitting on our bench, and she sat on our bench all the way through the district tournament. She sits there the whole entire time. She never gets up until timeouts, and she's not watching a tablet or anything. She's just sitting there watching the game. It's been really fun for me, and our guys do a really good job. We had that conversation last year, and I want kids to be able to come in our locker room or sit on our bench and not hear stuff they shouldn't be hearing or see stuff in the locker room, and our guys have really done a really good job with that. And we've got some of our guys that have younger siblings, and so they're around them anyways, but they do a really good job of accepting her and picking at her, and she really enjoys being around those guys. And this year she goes and stands with the cheerleaders, but she's still the little assistant coach. She likes doing that, sitting on the bench, and it's been really good for her to be around. The youngest one, she don't come to the games as much. She's kind of a little wild still, but she's been the last couple, and she seemed to really like it and enjoys watching too.
Walter?
Well, you as a teacher,
And with the younger folks, you probably have a built-in way of scouting your future players. That's probably pretty handy for you.
You do. You kind of wonder, I hope that one gets the 4th grade class has got a bunch of kids, or the 3rd grade class has got a bunch that play basketball. And the other part of it, you see some of those classes that they're just, we graduated a class a couple years ago. There was only 7 boys in the entire class, and none of them, I think there was one that even played a sport. And, it's really hard to do. To be successful, any of the sports, which basketball's easier. You only got to have 5 out there at all times. Right. But it's been kind of hard on numbers. And luckily, like I said, our junior class has a lot of kids in it. The senior class, we got 3 that play basketball. I think 2 of them. No, I guess all 3 of them played football, and then 2 of them will play baseball. But we got 130 kids, a little around 136 kids, I think, in our high school. So, those years that. Next year we'll graduate 7 or 8 out of that. That's a huge percentage of your school. Mm-hmm. So it'll make it tough trying to rebuild and get those guys back in. But it just makes it it's a challenge. But it's something we deal with, and I've kind of learned to deal with it. And me and my assistant both, Sam McCart helps me, and he does a really good job of helping me with X and O stuff, and it's just little things we can do to try to combat the small numbers that we have and go from there.
How many players do you have returning for this coming year?
For this year, last year we graduated 7.
Okay.
And then this year we'll graduate 3.
Okay.
So, those 7, we had a bunch of those kids. The junior class, several of them got to play last year and got valuable minutes, which was big for this year. I guess it was middle of the year last year, we had a game with Wartburg, and we had a senior that was out, and then 4 or 5 post players that were out with COVID related stuff.
Yeah.
And so we kind of went to a zone and went out there, and we competed for about 4.5 or 3.5 quarters. He was like, all right, this is what we're going to do from now on. And because I've always been, let's play man to man, let's press and do some of those things. But then that game, it kind of opened my eyes. Hey, we just need to go zone and work on offense, and it's been successful. We've been in a 2-3 zone ever since, and kind of hanging our hat on that right now.
Oh, okay.
Coach, you mentioned you graduated from Wartburg and played for Coach Joe Lane.
I did. Yep.
We had Coach Lane on a few weeks ago, and Coach Lane now head coach at Kingston. But just talk a little bit about your playing career there at Wartburg and how successful y'all were.
Coach Lane got there. My brother was a few years older than me. I was in 7th grade, and I had been around Coach Lane since I went to all the open gyms they had, and was really around him since I was in 7th grade. So I'd been around him for 6 years, my senior year. Our class was pretty successful. We wound up was the first team there at Wartburg that went to the state tournament. We went to the state tournament my senior year. Got beat by Humboldt in the first round. But just learned a lot about basketball and just like coaching in general from Coach Lane. Our styles now are kind of a little bit different, just one of those things we've had to adapt, and I've just been, I want to do what's going to be successful for our guys. And in a smaller school, even than Wartburg, I think it's a little tougher to just say this is what we're going to do no matter who we have, and we've had to adjust a little bit. I would love to, press and play 10 guys a night, but it's just one of those things that's hard sometimes. But really, I like that style of play. I like getting up and down the floor and scoring a lot of points, and we still try to do that offensively. We run a little different offense. He runs kind of the 4-out, 1-in motion offense, and we've had to adapt a little bit. We don't really have a back-to-the-basket post player, and so we've kind of went 5-out with a lot of our offenses. But we still use a lot of the same stuff. I still lean on Coach Lane a lot. I'll call him 2 or 3 times throughout the year and just kind of get advice on what to do and how to handle certain situations. And he's been a really good mentor for me and just been a big part of, my coaching career. He's been really good for us.
Did you play in college?
I did not, no. I went to Roan State for 2 years and then did the 2+2. So I actually graduated from Tennessee Tech, but I never went to the campus. I did all my classwork at Roan State. And had a couple of offers, NAIA places to play football. I was actually a better football player than I was basketball, but I just felt like I knew more about basketball and wanted to be a head coach, early. Where football is kind of a process. You got to be a position coach, and I just felt like I wanted to coach basketball and kind of knew more about it just from Coach Lane. Like I think I could go take over a program, and there's a lot more to it than you realize when you're first getting started. But I thought I knew enough about it to get started, and that was kind of the reason I went the basketball route.
Talk about your staff. Who's helping you?
Sam McCart is my assistant. He helps with football as well. He's I believe he coaches he's the offensive coordinator for the football, and he's been helping me now for 5 or 6 years. He's a really good X's and O's guys. It's just one of those, he sees a lot of stuff on the bench that I get wrapped up in the game, and hey, we can do this or make this adjustment, and I try to listen to a lot of the stuff that, if he says it, that's kind of what we just go with. I've learned to really trust what he says, and he studies the game. He's all the time watching film and videos and learning about what to do and certain adjustments to our offense, and he's been a really big part of what we're able to accomplish.
Talk about the girls' coach, Fred Snow. He's been there a long time. I'm sure you've learned some from him.
He has. He's been there. Somebody asked me the other day, and I don't know how many years he's been there. He was the coach there when I was playing in high school and as far back as I can remember. But yeah, Fred's, we don't ever really talk about X and O stuff, but just the whole part of, coaching and how to handle certain situations and handle scenarios. And he's been a really big part, on the bus rides to all the games. We sit and talk about different things and different aspects of what's going on in our district and how the tournaments are going to be and all that stuff. And he's really been a really good mentor for me along the way as well.
Walter?
Talk about the district tournament as it continues, I guess, for you on Friday, and who you'll be playing and who it'll look like you'll be playing next week if everything goes according to plan.
We play Rockwood on Friday. We are the 1, they're the 4, and then the 2-3 game will be Greenback and Harriman, which is the way it's been all year. Either game could go either way. It could be one of those we could play Harriman for a district championship, or we could play Harriman for a consulate, for the 3-4. Just kind of the way it goes. The district this year has been kind of up and down. Hopefully we beat Rockwood both times, but as Kyle mentioned, both games were really close. I think they had a double-digit lead both times against us. They got, the district player of the year and Ty Pryor, really good basketball player. Just one of those, you can't let him go off. And the rest of those guys have done a much better job here late of scoring the ball. Kind of make it tough to match up with. Before, we felt like we could just guard Pryor and kind of let the other guys score and be okay. But now you've really got to worry about all the, there are a couple of post players they've got, and the Hannibal kid, shooting threes. You got to make sure you get out and close out on him. Then the other game, I think Cameron and Greenback, they split in the regular season. Both teams won at home. So I don't know, playing at Harriman with the district tournament being there, will definitely help them. I don't know how much it will. They both have some really good basketball players and, great coach teams. And looking forward to seeing it. That we can. Hopefully, we can take care of business. Being the 1 seed, you really want to go in there and just kind of impose your will and score early and get the lead and just kind of do what you got to maintain that lead. But it's hard to say either game what's going to happen, between us or Greenback and Harriman.
I love that gym there at Harriman. You like playing there?
It is. I enjoy playing there. We played the region championship game there my senior year. And it just seems like ever since, we've played some tournament games there. I really enjoyed, 2018 we went to the state tournament, and both the district and the region was held at Rome State. I thought it was a really good atmosphere, but as far as atmosphere goes and all that, Harriman's a really good spot for everybody. It's kind of centrally located. It's a big enough gym to hold everybody. We play in a Christmas tournament there just because you're going to play tournament games there, and the more games you can play in that gym, the better I think that you're going to be. We've shot the ball okay there the last couple of years, so hopefully our guys are ready to go in there. And it's a little bigger. It's a lot bigger floor than ours are. So the stamina part of it and the endurance of trying to get up and down the floor might affect us early. Hopefully that you have a lot of adrenaline and all that stuff, and we can maintain that. Hopefully, past the first and second quarter. We're not real deep right now. We only play 7, 8 guys. And that's if you get in foul trouble and somebody has to stay in there the whole time. Those big floors kind of it bothers you a little bit when you're used to the RGM, and hopefully we can overcome that.
Talk a little bit about that 2018 team just for a little bit. I know y'all went to the state tournament. You had a really, really good team. I saw y'all. I was actually down there and watched y'all play, but you had a really, really good team that year. Just briefly touch on that state tournament team.
Yeah, that was a really fun team to be around.
And the history of Oakdale basketball a little bit.
As far back, when I first got there, we had won one district championship in 1990, won a tournament championship. And then the third year that I was there, we won the regular season and wound up winning the tournament kind of by default. The games got snowed out, and we had won, and so we just went off seeding, and we wound up winning that one. And then 2 years later, the next year, we wound up winning the district championship. That was 2016. Won the regular season, won the tournament, and then in 2017 we won the regular season. Got beat in the semifinals. Jellicoe beat us. We were the 1 seed; they were the 4. Beat us that year, and then in 2018 we won the regular season, the tournament, and then that was the first region tournament championship in the school's history. But that was a really fun team. Just all year they could score. We scored over 100 in 2 different games. One of those was the first round of the region tournament, and man, for whatever reason, the district and region tournament run, we shot the ball extremely well. I don't know what we shot it from 3, but it had to be in the 60, up there in the 60% range. Had a lot of really good scores on that team. It was kind of similar to this team. We didn't have a lot of true post players. The tallest player on our team was our point guard, and then our 2 guard. And neither one of them were post players. They stayed out around the rim. Our post players around 6 foot, but could really get up and down the floor and could shoot it, and so he could play inside and out. And just a really fun group to be around. We graduated 7 that year, and then we graduated 8 the year after that. A school our size, when you graduate 15 kids, you kind of take a hit numbers wise. But that's the thing. Since I've been there, basketball has been a really big thing, it seems like, with the kids, and we've always had really good numbers, and upwards of close to 20 about every year, trying to play JV games and get guys as many minutes as we can. It's been tough the last couple of years. It seems like everybody's kind of having a hard time getting enough kids to play JV, and luckily we've been able to find a few more games this year, and hopefully moving forward we can get some more JV games to kind of make the future a little brighter.
Is that Oakdale's lone trip to the state tournament in 2018?
It is, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The girls had made it in, I think it was 1990. I think it was 1990, and then that was the first boys trip. Went up there, and it was one of those, we had a lead. May have been up at the half. Then Jackson Hicks made about a 35-foot jump shot at the end of regulation to send it to overtime. Then we lost to North Green, and they kind of took over in overtime, and we got in foul trouble, and they made a three, or we fouled them on a three. They made some free throws, and we just never could really regain it. But it was a fun experience, and that was a really fun group to be around.
I remember the game in the state. Hit a half-court shot, or was that one you was talking about?
Yeah, it was. I don't know how it was. Somewhere a little over half court, but we
put it into overtime.
Put it into overtime. Yeah, it was. You know, there was people in the stands. That was a great play. You know, we just kind of drew that up at the. They were face guarding, you know, Jackson, and it was one of those things. If they face guarded, like we can throw it over the top, or we can throw it to somebody and him get a run at it. And that was one of those guys. Anybody that I've ever coached, if I could have someone to shoot a last-second shot that you knew you had a chance. Jackson was one of those guys, and just for whatever reason, we drew it up. And it was like, we still got a chance. We're down 3 with, I think there was like 3 seconds to go, and it was one of those like, we still have a chance. And as soon as it left his hands, you know it was going in, and you know it was a really big moment for him and for our team and for our program, really, just to have a chance to go down there and compete at that level. You know, getting to the state tournament's not easy, but even getting down there, then you want to be able to compete and just not get blown out when you get down there, and we were able to do that. And that was a really fun time.
You had a big crowd there, big Red Nation. I remember all the red down there that day, and that was great to see.
Yeah, we had great fan support, and you know, a lot of people around the community donating money to help, you know, pay for the bus and the hotel and all that stuff. And there's a lot of expenses that go into a trip like that, and we didn't have to worry about any of it. You know, our principal at the time, we went down to the meeting, and the draw, and all that stuff, and you could just tell he was really nervous, and he was like, why are you not nervous? And I was like, well, I know enough people in the community, and I know our community is going to help us, and there's no worrying about money and all that stuff. There's enough people that came to the sub-state games and all that we're going to figure out a way to get it paid for, and they, you know, the community did a really good job of surrounding those kids and, you know, supporting them and helping them get everything that we needed, and really more than we needed. You know, we still have quite a bit of money in the account that pays for sweats and jerseys and all that stuff that's still left over from that trip.
Right now we're going to go ahead and take another break, and then we're going to come back. We're going to talk to Kyle Miller and Sydney Gregory, so stick around. Oakdale Eagle basketball. We'll be right back watching Locker Room Chat.
Using OAB law when you have an accident is easier than a hockey player using a microwave, pouring a cup of coffee, transferring a call,
Floor 9.
using an elevator, going to the dentist.
You got a pain in your neck, just turn that record to a check. Get the money you need, get the money you want. Call OEB Law.
As soon as I walked in the door and saw just the ambiance of the place, I thought, wow. I said, this is really nice. Everyone is just great with all of the residents.
I call this the Alexander House of Angels.
This is an example of one of our rooms. This is considered a large studio. We do have 4 different size rooms. They all have their own private bathrooms. They all have a small kitchenette.
I always tell residents that they feed us wisdom. I feel like that's a big special part of working in assisted living.
And it's a big family here. Everyone is very nice.
Look out for each other.
They do. She's made a lot of friends. It's been that from day one.
Yeah, it has. I love our building, our people, but I tell you, I wouldn't be anywhere else.
Daniel Forrester has been recognized as one of East Tennessee's leading attorneys for nearly 2 decades. Civil disputes, criminal defense, divorces, and juvenile custody cases are all part of an impressive resume. Daniel's legal experience also includes representing clients in local, state, and federal courts. A husband and a father, Daniel is a Rule 31 certified mediator who has represented hundreds of families in Chancery Court. Call Daniel Forrester Law Office at 865-457-7900 for a free consultation.
Earl Duff Pre-Owned Center in Harriman is your one-stop shop for vehicle sales and service. The Duff family is open for business for everything automotive. We offer fully inspected, dependable pre-owned vehicles, and most come with a powertrain warranty at no extra cost. We also have a complete service department equipped for maintenance and repairs on all makes and models.
Don't settle for less with your next pre-owned vehicle purchase. Come to Earl Duff Pre-Owned Center in Harriman or online at duffpreowned.com.
Roan Metals Group has been serving East Tennessee for decades. Locally owned and operated with convenient hours of operation. Roan Metals buys all types of scrap metal. Nothing's too big or too small. Still have that clunker sitting around? We've been buying them for years. Roan Metals Group are specialists in industrial scrap. We have what it takes to get any size job done. Roan Metals urges you to recycle responsibly. Scrap with only licensed dealers. A member of the TSRA and the ISRI. Roan Metals Group. Turn that scrap into cash.
Welcome back into the locker room chat. We're visiting with Oakdale Eagle head basketball coach Travis Nelson and a couple of his student athletes are here with us, Kyle Miller and Sydney Gregory. And Kyle, we'll start with you. And do you have any pregame rituals? I know before you were injured.
No, not really. I'd go in there and I'd try to feel as comfortable as I could with my teammates and make sure that nothing's going on between us and make sure it ain't going to hold over to the game.
Sydney, same question. What do you do for a game?
I don't know if it's really a ritual, but I'll go to the concession stands, get a hot dog and a Snickers bar, and maybe a water at times. Go back to the locker room, listen to music, read my Bible, and just get ready to play.
Well, that's awesome. Walter?
Sydney, what was it like when you found out you were made all-district?
I was kind of surprised. Didn't think I did the best this year. I held the team back sometimes, but I guess they just seen me do something good at least. So couldn't have done it with Travis. I mean, he pushes us every day, runs us to death sometimes, but it's all right. But,
and who is your, I guess, favorite opponent, or I guess the team you'd like to play the most?
Greenback.
Okay.
I'd like to play them again.
And who's your favorite?
Probably Wartburg. I know a lot of people from there, and they go to church with me, so after we beat them, I always get to go talk to them about it afterwards and mess with them.
And let's see, what is the next thing about, what will you take away from playing for Oakdale? You're a junior, you've got another year, but what's been your favorite memory so far?
Favorite memory so far? Probably it was last year, I think, or two. It might have been freshman year. Zeke Moore, he hit a half-court shot against Midway, I think, which put us in. I think it was to put us at the 4 seed over them, and I think he tied up the game or won it 1. But the fans were going crazy, and it was just a great thing to be there to witness.
Okay. How about you, Sydney?
Probably making it a district championship. The atmosphere was incredible. Wasn't a lot of people there, but you just feel it. As soon as you got in there, they were rowdy, they were ready to go.
And one more thing, do either of y'all play any other sports?
I play baseball, basketball, and football.
Okay.
I play baseball and basketball.
So both of y'all are very big-time athletes.
Some can say that.
That's good.
Kyle, would you say Wartburg's your big rival?
Yeah, with them being in county, I mean, Cofield is too, but Wartburg, know a lot of people from there and just like to get back at them.
Would you agree with that, Sydney?
Oh, yeah. Cofield's a big rival, but there's nothing like Wartburg. Wartburg rivalries they're just a little different feel to them.
And Sydney, what's your hobbies when you're not playing sports? What do you like to do?
Fishing. I like to fish a lot.
Kyle?
Probably fishing, hunting, and like going riding with family and just spending time around family and friends. And of course, going to church. It's the biggest thing in my life. God put most of this here for me. He gave me the skill and talent to work hard every day at basketball. And yeah, there's some things in life that I don't know what he's going to do, but it's all in his hands.
And Sydney, what's the biggest fish you caught?
Little rock bass. They count big stuff.
They get big, don't they?
They can.
Yeah. So, what's it like playing for Coach Nelson?
It's pretty fun, man. Every day it's something new, and he pushes us every day he gets the best out of all of us. If one of us is slacking off, he'll let us know about it, and as teammates, we'll do that too. We'll just let them know, hey, let's pick it up. Hey, you're good. Just start So being smarter with the basketball, he just gets the best out of us every day.
Coach Ness, talk a little bit about Sidney Gregory.
He joined the 1,000-point club. He scored his 1,000th point last week against Coalfield, which is a big milestone for anybody. Sidney's played. I don't know that he started as a freshman, but he played a lot of games and a lot of minutes for us as a freshman. I think he made 8 threes twice in a game as freshman year and 7 once, and then to start his sophomore year, we go to Sell Creek and he made 7 in that game. Just one of those, a really good pure shooter. Really worked on his games, just become something more than just a pure shooter. He's a really good scorer. We've moved him to the bottom of the zone just because he's one of our taller players and doing a really good job down there of getting rebounds. And it's hard because we're so small. When you play teams that have really good post players, it puts them in a bad spot, and you don't want to get your best scorers in foul trouble, and it's just a hard balance for us of where can we stick guys that are not going to get them in foul trouble, and where can we put them that's going to best benefit them. And Sidney's really he's played the 4 spot for us. He's played, he's our backup point guard. He's him and Kyle both have really done it all for us, but. And our 4 guy is always the throwing guy, and so he helps us against the press. And that was, missing Kyle, I think, kind of made it a little more difficult because we had to move some kids around to the 4 spot. And against Harriman, they really get after you and they press, and it kind of put us in a bad spot. Hopefully we've made some adjustments and kind of go from there. But, just both of these guys, especially Sidney, does whatever we ask. We moved into the post. Kind of took the ball out of his hands a little bit, and it was one of those things he never questioned it or said, "Hey, I need more touches" or something like that. But we kind of, as me and Coach McCart kind of decided, that's probably not the best move. Let's move him back to the wing, and we put Kyle there. And Kyle really flourished, I thought, at that spot. But setting ball screens and picking and popping for us and being able to shoot threes and being able to help us get the ball up the floor and it kind of alleviate some of the pressure off our point guard. But both of those guys have done a lot for us and really, and everybody on our team has. It's Nehemiah Cooney. He's our post player, probably the 5th tallest player on the team, or maybe less. He's 5'10" and plays in the middle of our zone and plays against guys that are 6 inches taller than him every night. And he does a fantastic job of kind of controlling the paint and keeping the ball out of there. And we played Coalfield last week, and Coalfield's got a 6'7" kid and a 6'5", 6'6" kid, and then another post player that he's probably 6'1", that's a really good post. And we held them, I think, to all of them scored single digits, which was really big for us. We gave up too many threes. But it was one of those things. Those guys did a really good job of controlling the paint. And here lately, and Nelson Allen has been a really big contributor for us. He's the tallest player on the team. He's really getting into his own. He's a senior. He plays hard. And last week against Rockwood, I felt like he won us the basketball game. And I don't know that he scored 4 points, but he got every rebound defensively. And just, I think the guys they fed off of his energy. He played really, really hard, and our guys kind of saw that, and we were getting more rebounds. Our biggest thing is trying to keep the defense or keep the offense off the glass, and they're doing a really good job of boxing out and helping us all the way through.
Sidney, what's your favorite sport? I know you play all of them. Do you have a favorite?
Baseball. That's nothing like baseball.
You ready for the upcoming season?
Oh yeah.
And Kyle, what's it like playing for Coach Nelson?
Playing for him, it's a great time. We get to cut up a lot, but whenever we know that we have a big game coming, he expects us to be just straight to the point and don't act up or act out at all, because it throws all of us off when one acts out. But he makes sure he gets there and he straightens us up and puts us in line.
Talk a little bit about Kyle Miller.
Kyle's another one, like you said, he's done kind of everything that we've asked. He's brought the ball up the floor a few times. He's played in the post. He's, one of our best rebounders. He's been that way since, he's a freshman. He's one of the best rebounders on our team, especially for his size and to play against guys that are, so much taller than him. He's going to play hard, all the time. Sometimes you got to calm him down a little bit. He gets a little out of control, but I would rather have guys that are like that than guys that you have to constantly motivate to play hard. And it's just one of those things, you just bring them over the side and like, hey, you're good, just calm down a little bit. And, but he won several games for us, I felt like, this year. He was I felt like kind of the biggest snub of the all-district voting. I just felt like he did a lot for us. He was the leading scorer in a couple of the district games, and, without him, obviously, the first 2 games he's out, you lose in the district. Just shows how important he was for us, and hopefully we're able to, we've kind of not moved on, but we've kind of learned how to play without him, and I think that, that was helpful last week to have a couple of games. You hate it any time, but luckily for us, it happened with 2 weeks to go instead of the last week, so that you can kind of, go around that. And hate to see him gone, and hopefully, he plays baseball. Hopefully he can get back into, at least back for most of the baseball season and be ready to go.
Walter, we've got a few minutes left in the show. Any more questions? Got something on for a couple players?
One thing I thought was real good for you, Coach, the fact that you use speed to help the fact that you don't have that tall of ball players to get done what you need to get done.
Yeah, and that's, we try to play fast offensively, defensively try to slow it down and just try to limit. It's one of those things, you don't want to give up anything, but not to take anything away from anybody in our district, but our district just, even in our region, there's not great 3-point shooters. People can make shots, but I'm happier when people are shooting threes than they are, if you're giving up layups and all that stuff. And so the zone has really helped us kind of dictate where the shots come from. Some players we're okay with. If they shot it 10 or 12 times a game, we would be okay with that. They may make them, and if they do, congratulations to them. They did a really good job. But you have to live with something, and we've kind of hung our hat this year, and we're going to give up some 3-point baskets. Hopefully we can get the rebound when they do miss it, and hopefully we can get baskets on the other end. But it's a lot harder when you're so small.
All right, Coach. We got the speed round coming up. A few more minutes left. We've got to get back to these boys here. So, guys, we'll start with you, Sydney. Favorite player?
That's me.
Favorite team?
Golden State Warriors.
Kyle?
Same with him, Michael Jordan, Golden State.
I'm glad to hear that, Michael Jordan. Favorite food?
Anything my grandma or my mom will fix.
Good answer.
Kyle?
As of right now, anything mom fixes, because I can't just go to the kitchen and grab food with the crutches. It's always what she brings me, and I'm thankful for that.
Have a favorite place to eat out?
Elkance and Harriman.
Okay. Sydney?
McDonald's, anywhere.
Place you would like to visit sometime?
I don't really know, man. Just anywhere God leads me.
Kyle?
Probably the Bahamas. I'd like to go there.
Type of music you like?
Country.
Hip hop and country.
If you had a superpower, what would it be?
I don't know. Probably flying.
Probably strength, because I've been little my whole life.
You have a nickname?
Not really.
Pineapple Head.
Pineapple Head, okay. Okay, go ahead and give a shout out.
The mom and dad, couldn't done it without them, and especially the one above God, couldn't done anything without him.
Family and God, and the little people in life that you don't realize, like students at your school that come and say, hey, you played good last night. It's good always.
All right, guys, thank y'all for being here, and good luck rest of the season. Get back to Murfreesboro. And Coach, thank you for being here, and good luck also on the upcoming tournament.
Well, thanks for having us, and hopefully we can at least put on a show and go out there and play well on Friday.
For Chandler, for Walter Stair, I'm John Williams, and thank everyone for watching. We'll see you next week on the Locker Room Chat.